thing that I've been asking for is for someone to give me a concrete reason why this individual is being detained.
Well, Candace, it's because he doesn't belong in this country. I mean, you can say he's a legal citizen, but see, he lied on his application. Yeah. He's so for people that don't know who this Mahood Kahil is, he is one of the biggest people, and the way the left is framing it is this is the Trump administration and Mark Rubio targeting legal citizens. No, this is looking into these people that caused the riots on the university campuses. I don't know if people remember when Columbia, Yale, Harvard, I think, there was like 4 of them. They were the heads of those universities that had all this hate going on, sort of like, you remember how during 2020, the Summer of Love riots, that they called it the Summer of Rage, whatever it was, that BLM went around and they called it a peaceful protest while they burned buildings and cars and vandalized police cars and everything, and the media told everybody that was a peaceful protest. Yeah. So it's sort of the same thing here, but remember, it was the Israel and Palestine. But this went so far as to the university campus, the students and the professors, many of them, were marching with Hamas, marching with the terrorist organization. But that wasn't all. They were threatening Jewish students on the campus. Anybody who saw those videos, there were even Jewish professors that were saying, no, this is like, they were worried about, like, they were, like, one of them was scared. Like, this was, and then you stop seeing those videos because the universities told the Jewish students not to come to class because they couldn't guarantee their safety. That's how out of hand this shit got. Which is why then the heads of these universities all had to be in front of Congress and they had to answer questions. And if people remember, like, what was her name? Claudine Gay, something like that, at Harvard, or I think it was Columbia, maybe, can't remember, but she was caught, she was plagiarizing. But not just that, none of those people that headed up those universities saw the threatening to kill Jewish students as, they saw that as free speech. Just go look there. It was, such, I think that the most disgraceful thing, I've ever seen was that took place. These universities that are put on this pedestal of, knowledge and class, showed what complete trash they are. Because they were literally marching for Hamas. Remember, they were saying to the river and the sea, whatever that phrase is. And that phrase is about exterminating. So I don't want to go into all that. But so this is why, of course, Candace is trying to cause all this ruckus about this guy. Yeah, so 80% of Americans that are MAGA want him out because he was behind much of this. However, Rubio is holding on to him. So the left, of course, is framing this, that Trump and Rubio are going after legal citizens because they say he's legal, but there's more to that because he lied on his application. Just wait. But it's not that they just want to go after legal citizens, but if that's the kind of hatefulness you want to bring to America, we don't need it. We don't. And yet the leftist lawyers, the scum they are, they're, trying to use this free speech thing. No, what went on these campuses went beyond free speech. Do people remember they had encampments, they had tents? While the Democrats, just like the Democrats, stood by and said it was a peaceful protest while BLM burned down cities in 2020. Well, what they did on the campuses, the Democrats, again, stood by. Because, again, the Democrats hate the Jews, too. They just do. What they support is anything that'll destroy America. It is. That's why they will go out of their way to defend the worst, most god-awful people. Okay? We do not need trash like Cahill in this country. But they're not just detaining people illegally here. He did not disclose when he applied for permanent residence that he worked for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for the Palestinian refugees. and that he had employment with the Syria office in the British Embassy in Beirut. He was also a member of the Columbia University Apartheid Divest Group. So they say he's a legal immigrant, but so he was on a student visa, and then he may have gotten married, and I think he has a wife that's 8 months pregnant. But see, this is all what the problem is. So the way that Rubio is using a rarely used law that allows the Secretary of State to declare someone a risk to the United States interests. So if you look into that rarely used law, the founders had thought it'd be a law that was used a lot more. It's rarely used though. But that was back when they had thought that Americans were alert and that Americans would realize you're going to constantly have people coming in here with bad intentions that are going to use your Bill of Rights and use your laws against you, and the Democrat Party is going to help them do that. So they had expected, when you look into this anyway, the history of it, this law, they had expected it would be used a lot. But, that was when they didn't think America would end up being so passive, which now we're not. It's like, get him out. I don't want him here. Think about what a jagoff you have to be to go to somebody else's country and do shit like that. I couldn't even think of doing that. Like, I would just want to be respectful of their culture. You know what I mean? Yet they come in here and then act like a jagoff, okay? Like this Cahill did. Gets some hero status because he gets the Hamas movement march going, okay? And then Jewish students can't even go to class, okay? Are being threatened because of shit like him. And then you think that he should have any right to stay? No, get him out. We don't need trash like that. We don't need it. So, but that's why he lied, because it's not like the UN has. The UN has America's interests at heart about as much as the EU does. So he's trying to claim this bullshit about the First Amendment. No, this went beyond the First Amendment. It did, because the Congress didn't call these university presidents before them because it was free speech. They did because the Jewish students were being terrorized. They were being threatened. There was violence going on. Look, remember all the tents? These universities made a total disgrace of themselves because they've allowed this element, this revolutionary socialist crap element into their universities, and it's why the universities are garbage. So that's the argument. And again, so this should be enough for MAGA supporters to see that Candace, again, who was Candace originally? Candace was a Democrat, okay? She has millions of followers because she's a Jew hater. So of course she would support trash like this because she's not about America's values. She's not about peaceful protests. She doesn't even want to tell people the truth, that he lied. And he was part of the United Nations refugees for Palestinian efforts. So then when you're on the campus and you are one of the main people that have caused this division to where Jews can't even go to class, then we don't want you in our country. And maybe Candace should move out too. If that's the kind of garbage she wants here in America, we don't need that. What country stands by and allows that? But I think most Americans, that's how. Trump's not trying to go after legal citizens, like legal immigrants that weren't involved in this stuff. But it's quick that Americans forget what went on in those campuses. It was bad. It was bad. All of that stuff with BLM and then the university, all of that is part of that whole, we're going to weaken your country, we're going to demoralize you. And so that's the kind of garbage he is. Like if I went to Saudi Arabia or anywhere, I would be respectful, the best that I knew, of their, not to be rude. I'm in their country. Yet these people don't care. So I don't want garbage like that here. So he should be sent out. He lied on his application. Too bad. Bye.